Look at your desktop right now. That folder of tax returns, the raw footage for your next project, the proprietary API keys for your startup. You think you own them. But if they are sitting in a Google Drive or a Dropbox folder, you are paying a hidden tax every single day. I'm not talking about the $10 a month for storage. I'm talking about the loss of data sovereignty, the risk of automated account bans that lock you out of your life, and the reality that big tech uses your metadata as liquidity to trade in the attention economy. The industry is broken because we've traded security for convenience, and frankly, the interest rate on that debt is becoming too high to pay. But there is a way out. If you are ready to reclaim your digital borders, we need to talk about the enterprise-grade, privacy-first clouds that are making the big players look like legacy relics. The standard cloud model is built on a fundamental market failure: the assumption that the provider must be able to see your data to manage it. Proton Drive exists because they realized that Swiss neutrality shouldn't just apply to gold bars, it should apply to your PDFs. In a world where service providers hand over data to any subpoena without a fight, Proton built a system where they physically cannot comply because they don't hold the keys. When you log in, the interface is deceptively simple, mimicking the clean lines of the big tech giants to lower the friction of switching. You'll see a sidebar with your recent files, a massive upload button, and a dedicated tab for your shared links. Setting it up feels like moving into a new house, where the locks are already changed. You drag a file from your desktop, watch the progress bar move as it encrypts locally on your machine, and see it land in the vault. If you look at the numbers, you are getting a massive upgrade in security for essentially the same price as a coffee. We are talking about AES 256 encryption on the client side, which means the math required to crack one file would take a supercomputer longer than the age of the universe. Imagine a scenario where a rogue employee at a traditional cloud provider decides to snoop through your business's financial projections. With Proton, that employee sees nothing but a string of garbled alphanumeric nonsense because the decryption happens only on your screen. But the real pro move here is using their versioning system to fight ransomware. Most people don't know this, but you can roll back any file to a previous state even after an attack, effectively making the hacker's encryption redundant. Most cloud services are centralized, which creates a single point of failure that hackers absolutely love. Internxt exists to solve the fragmentation of security by using a decentralized architecture. Instead of your file sitting on one server in Virginia, it's shredded into pieces, encrypted, and distributed across a global network. Navigating the UI feels like using a high-end file manager. The dashboard gives you a bird's-eye view of your total storage and recent activity. You click through folders that look familiar, but the backend is doing something radical every time you hit save. Economically, the value proposition is about long-term stability and reducing the churn rate of your digital life. You're looking at a zero-knowledge architecture that ensures no one, not even the founders of Internxt, can access your photos or spreadsheets. Consider a high-stakes situation where a major data center goes offline due to a cyber attack or natural disaster. While other users are frantically checking Twitter to see when their files will be back, your data remains accessible because it's pulled from multiple healthy nodes simultaneously. The hidden shortcut here is their dedicated CLI tool. If you're a developer, you can automate your backups directly from the terminal, bypassing the web interface entirely for maximum efficiency. The predatory nature of subscription models is a plague on the tech industry, often leading to massive subscription fatigue. Filen.io stepped into the gap to provide a high-speed, zero-knowledge solution that prioritizes one-time costs over recurring revenue drains. They saw power users getting squeezed by ever-increasing monthly fees and decided to offer a lifetime model that actually makes sense. The interface is incredibly lean, focusing on a dark mode-first aesthetic that minimizes distractions. Setting it up involves creating a master key that acts as your ultimate recovery tool. You click through the security prompts, and suddenly you have a virtual drive mounted on your system. From a financial perspective, if you buy a 2 terabyte lifetime plan, you break even in less than 24 months compared to a standard Google One sub. That is thousands of dollars in savings over a decade of use. Picture a scenario where your local hard drive fails during a critical project deadline. Because Filen uses a proprietary sync algorithm that handles small file changes instantly, your most recent edits are already safe in the cloud without you ever having to click a Sync Now button. One feature 90% of people miss is the ability to host a basic, static website directly from an encrypted folder. It's an incredible way to share a portfolio or a private project without exposing your backend to the open web. For professionals in legal or fintech, good enough security is a liability that can lead to massive fines. Tresorit exists to solve the compliance nightmare of GDPR and HIPAA by offering what they call digital rights management in the cloud. They realize that the biggest security hole isn't the server, it's the person you share the link with. The UI is built for team collaboration, featuring a treasure system where each folder is its own encrypted vault. You click on a folder, invite a collaborator, and set specific permissions like no download or expire after 2 clicks. While it is more expensive, you are paying for the peace of mind that comes with SOC2 Type 2 certification. Think of it as an insurance policy, where the premium is just a slightly higher monthly fee. Imagine you accidentally send a sensitive contract to the wrong email address. With a standard cloud, that data is gone. With Tresorit, you can revoke access to that specific link remotely, even if they've already opened it on their browser. The secret sauce here is their Outlook and Gmail integrations. You can replace all your email attachments with secure Tresorit links automatically, ensuring that sensitive data never sits in an unencrypted sent folder. Legacy cloud providers often hide their best security features behind an enterprise paywall, leaving the average user exposed. Sync.com exists to democratize zero-knowledge encryption, making it the default rather than a luxury add-on. They saw the market failing to protect the everyday user and built a platform where your privacy isn't a toggle you have to find in the settings. The user experience is almost identical to the clouds you're trying to leave, which is its greatest strength. You have your sync folder in your file explorer. You drag files in, and they get the green checkmark, just like you're used to. But before we get into the setup, there is one massive caveat. Because it's so secure, if you lose your password and your recovery key, not even the CEO can get your data back. Economically, they offer some of the best per-user rates in the industry, often undercutting the big names by 15% to 20% while providing better security. In a situation where your laptop is stolen at an airport, you can use their Remote Wipe feature to delete the local cache the next time the device hits a Wi-Fi signal. A hidden feature most people ignore is the Vault folder, which is a space for files you want in the cloud but not on your local computer. It's the perfect way to free up SSD space without sacrificing liquidity or access to your archive. The ultimate market failure in the tech space is the loss of ownership. If you don't own the hardware, you don't own the data. Nextcloud exists for the sovereign individual who wants the features of Google Drive but the privacy of a literal safe in their basement. It's a fragmented ecosystem that Nextcloud unifies into a single, open-source dashboard. The setup is more involved. You're navigating a Linux-based installation or using a one-click installer on a VPS. Once it's live, you click through a suite of apps: Calendar, Contacts, Talk, and Files, all hosted on your own terms. The cost savings here are massive if you have the technical debt to manage it. You're paying for the hardware, not the seat. You could host 10 terabytes of data for the price of a single hard drive and a small electricity bill. Consider a high-stakes scenario where a geopolitical shift leads to data localization laws that prevent your company from using US-based servers. With Nextcloud, you just move your server to a different jurisdiction and keep working. Zero downtime, zero compliance friction. The killer app inside Nextcloud is Nextcloud Hub, which allows for real-time document editing that is completely private. Most people don't realize you can integrate it with your own local AI models to summarize documents without a single byte of data leaving your premises. Mega was born out of a very public battle over digital rights and has since evolved into a massive enterprise-grade storage engine. They exist to solve the problem of large file distribution in an era where 4K video and massive datasets are the norm. They realize that if you're transferring 50 gigabyte files, you need more than just a link. You need a high bandwidth encrypted pipeline. The interface is bold and fast, featuring a massive transfer manager that lets you see exactly how your bandwidth is being utilized. You click on the cloud drive, and you're greeted by a highly organized structure that handles millions of files without breaking a sweat. The free tier is arguably the most generous in the world, giving you 20 gigabytes of zero-knowledge storage just for signing up. However, be warned, their transfer quotas can be a bit of a bottleneck if you're moving massive amounts of data on a free plan. Imagine you are a freelance videographer sending a final cut to a client across the globe. Standard tools might flag the file or throttle the speed, but Mega's global CDN ensures the client gets the full file at their maximum line speed. The hidden feature is their Mega Drop folders, which allow people who don't even have a Mega account to upload files directly to your encrypted drive. It's like having a secure, one-way mail slot for your business. Many privacy clouds are slow and clunky because encryption adds overhead. pCloud exists to solve the speed versus security trade-off by offering a hybrid model. They realize that not every file needs to be locked behind a zero-knowledge wall, but the ones that do need to be unhackable. The UI feels like a seamless extension of your operating system. It appears as a P drive in your file manager. You have your regular folders for movies and music, and then you have the crypto folder. To access it, you enter a separate passphrase that never leaves your device. Financially, pCloud is the king of the lifetime plan market, frequently running sales that allow you to own your cloud for life for a one-time payment of $200 to $300. That effectively eliminates your cloud storage overhead from your business's burn rate forever. Imagine a situation where your primary work computer is seized for a random audit. Unless the auditors have your specific crypto pass, those sensitive files are effectively invisible, even if they have the computer's login password. A shortcut most users miss is their built-in media player, which can stream your 4K video files directly from the cloud without downloading them first. It's the best way to maintain a private, encrypted media library that you can access from any mobile device. The SaaS ecosystem is often a mess of different logins and varying security standards. NordLocker exists to bring the Nord brand's obsession with security to the local file level. They solve the problem of files being vulnerable while they are just sitting on your computer's hard drive, not just when they are in transit. The software is a dedicated locker application where you drag and drop files to encrypt them instantly. Setting it up is a breeze. You create a master password, and then you see a list of lockers that look like digital safes. You click one, it unlocks, and you work on your files as normal. When you close it, they are re-encrypted. The pricing is competitive, especially if you're already in the Nord ecosystem, offering a significant discount on bundled services. Think about a high-stakes scenario where you're working from a coffee shop and your laptop is snatched while it's unlocked. Because your sensitive files are inside a NordLocker vault, the thief can't access your private data even if the screen is on. The hidden integration is their drag-and-drop cloud sync, which lets you encrypt a file locally and have it appear on your phone's app automatically. It's the fastest way to create an end-to-end encrypted bridge between your desktop and your mobile life. Traditional clouds often feel heavy. They take up massive amounts of RAM and slow down your boot times. IceDrive exists to solve the bloat problem with a next-gen cloud that uses a virtual drive architecture. They realize that the future of storage isn't syncing files to your hard drive, but mounting them so they take up zero space. The interface is stunning, easily the most modern and tech-forward on this list. You click on the app, and suddenly you have a new hard drive on your computer that has 5 terabytes of capacity, but uses 0 kilobytes of your local disk. The encryption uses the two-fish algorithm, which many security experts consider even more robust than the standard AES. From a ROI perspective, IceDrive is incredibly efficient for businesses that need to store massive amounts of raw data without buying new hardware. Imagine you're a data scientist with a 1 terabyte dataset that you need to access occasionally but don't want clogging up your local NVMe drive. IceDrive lets you interact with that data as if it were local, only downloading the specific bits you are currently reading. One massive pro tip: use their portable version of the app. You can put the IceDrive executable on a thumb drive, plug it into any computer, and access your entire encrypted cloud without leaving a single trace of software behind on the host machine. We've spent the last decade being told that the cloud is a magical place where everything is easy and free. But as we've seen, the true cost is your privacy, your security, and your long-term digital independence. Stopping your use of Google Drive isn't just about moving files, it's about shifting your mindset from a user to an owner. Whether you choose the Swiss precision of Proton, the decentralized power of Internxt, or the self-hosted freedom of Nextcloud, the goal is the same. You want to minimize your churn rate of personal data and maximize your digital liquidity. The tech is ready, the encryption is unbreakable, and the price of entry has never been lower. The only question is, how much longer are you willing to pay the big tech tax? Make the move, lock your vaults, and finally take back control of your digital life.